and frown. Drop down on the ground. Make up your face and frown. Lord, hey you got love again. Time to make a movie. Say you got love again. Let we make a movie. You got love again. Time to make a movie. Say you got love again. 1, 2, 3, action. Shoot back, shoot back, shoot it back, keep looking back. Look back, look back. Yeah, look back and shoot it back. Shoot back, shoot back. Yeah, look back, keep looking back. Look back, look back. Lord, hey you got love again. Time to make a movie. Say you got love again. Let we make a movie. You got love again. Time to make a movie. Say you got love again. 1, 2, 3, action. Bend over, bend over.
See what my eyes can see, and be what I wanna be, and I'll do what I wanna do, 'cause it's you, you come on, help me break through, 'cause you got power, whoa. You're living in your emotions, oh. And you got power, whoa. Now don't stop your heart showing it, no, no. Now I was lonely at sea, I was working unfamiliar hours. I was not doing anything that I wanna do, but now you know I got power. Whoa. You're living in my emotions, and I got power. Whoa. And I won't stop my heart showing it, no, no. Well, my head and my soul, hard forward till the day I go. Well, you know that I know that you want it, but you still won't go. And here's you, fly through. It's been longer than you care to know. Since you've been so low. So take one look where you are now. Feel good that you got this far. Be sure to take a little time to help a fellow out and tell them that they got power. Whoa. You're living in their emotions, and that they got power. Whoa. And to never stop their heart showing it, no, no. You got power. Whoa. You're living in your emotions, you got power. Whoa. And to never stop your heart showing it, no, no. You got power.
Tonight I'm gonna have myself a real good time. I feel alive, and the world I'm turning inside out. Yeah, I'm floating around in ecstasy. So don't stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. A shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, go, go. There's no stopping me. I'm burning through the sky, yeah. 200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm traveling at the speed of light. I wanna make a supersonic night. supersonic man out of you. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now. If you wanna have a good time, just give me a call. Don't stop me now. I'm having a good time. Don't stop me now. Yes, I'm having a good time. I don't wanna stop at all.
Американская фирма Transceptor Technology приступила к производству компьютеров «Персональный спутник».
Attack, front to back, in this thing called rap. Nigga like a double rhyme double on a heavenly level. Bang the bass, turn up the treble. Radical mind day and night all the time. 714, wise, divine, maniac, radiac, winning the game. I'm the lyrical Jesse James. Attack, and you don't want that.
We're so thrilled to be hosting this event, and it seems so appropriate for an organization that is so aligned with the kind of work that we do. Basically, what we're trying to do is extend our craft of audio into live event spaces, and it'll be for organizations just like your own. I think we've already had up to 20 events in this space since February, and almost an average of 5 nights a week we're doing things here. There was one time where we had a dance of 250 people here at 8 o'clock in the morning. I have to say, I don't know how that happened, but it was like, whoa, man, this was beyond what I had thought was possible. And I'm so excited to have Gustavo here, who I was just telling him that my dentist, who's a young Venezuelan woman, I'd read about him in the New York Times, and I think he was about to get his appointment in L.A. and Los Angeles for the Philharmonic out there. And I said, wow, who is this guy? And she said, oh my God, he is so great. He is so fantastic. That was my introduction, and that was several years ago. And it's such a great, great honor to have you here, Gustavo. Thank you so much for being here. And I just wanted to say that one of the emphasis that we have now upstairs at WBUR, and I think it's unfortunate that Maria Garcia, who is the editor of the Artery, WBUR's arts and culture page, isn't with us right now. She's just on holiday. But she would just fit so beautifully in with this group and has just brought such a wonderful energy and infusion of spirit to the Artery at WBUR, trying to celebrate the cultural diversity of our community and the arts of our community and the culture of our community. And it just works beautifully with the Mass Arts Council, and we're just so honored to have you here today. So thank you very much for being here, and we welcome you in our beautiful new space. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Sam. I'm Anita Walker, Executive Director of the Mass Cultural Council, and welcome. We are here today to celebrate the very best of Massachusetts as we present the highest honor in the arts and culture, the Commonwealth Awards. Now, as we honor you, we also celebrate the power of culture, its intrinsic value, and its instrumental impact. When we do our work well every day, communities prosper and thrive, young people are better equipped to navigate with their future, and that beautiful, colorful tapestry that's our society is stronger. You know, you're on the front lines on some of the most difficult and vexing problems that are facing our state and our nation. As climate change threatens this fragile planet, you are preserving thousands and thousands of acres of forest and field in the natural world. As income inequality keeps many people out, you're inviting them in. And you know what? They're taking you up on that invitation, as more than 250,000 EBT Card to Culture admissions proves in just the last year and a half. Yes, that's for you. While some would have us redact, you illuminate with science and fact. While some would have us divide, you unite by offering shared experiences. You are the best medicine for the most common pre-existing condition, being human. You're from different fields and disciplines, but together you make life better. Thank you. Now, you may have noticed that this year's Commonwealth Awards are just a little bit different than they've been in the past few years. I'm sure you're missing the cacophony and the great hall of the State House, sitting for 3 hours on those folding metal chairs, the acoustics. Remember the acoustics there? And of course, the breathless legislators running up the aisle trying to hit that 30-second window in order to present their award to their constituent. Well, first of all, Sam and WBUR and Andrea Shea, I want to thank you so much for giving us this beautiful space today. And as I look out, yes, another round of applause, please. And as I look out at this space, you know what I see? I see so much passion and talent and intelligence and determination. I know how hard you work every day and often through the night. But I would venture to guess that you rarely, if ever, just take a few minutes to sit back and relax and bask in the glory of your own accomplishments. Do you? Who does that? Well, that's what we want you to do here today. bask in the reflected glow of your amazing and immense accomplishments here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So, here's what's going to happen in the next hour and a half. We are going to tell the wonderful stories of our 13 Commonwealth Award finalists. We will present the JFK Commonwealth Award. We will hear the powerful words of our amazing keynote speaker, Maestro Gustavo Dudamel. And the suspense, we will award the Commonwealth Awards. And we've also saved just a little bit of time throughout the afternoon to have a little bit of arts and culture too. So that is what is standing ahead of you. Before we get started with the program, however, I would like to give a shout out to our amazing Mass Cultural Council Chair, Nina Fialco, who is with us today. Nina. And we are also joined by two council members, Susan Leff, and our newest council member, Mark Carroll. Thank you both for being with us as well. And former council member, Lisa Wong. Thank you for joining us. So, the British Romantic poet Percy Bysshe Shelley once wrote, "Poets are the unacknowledged legislators of the world." If that is true, then I think our legislators are the unacknowledged poets of the world. Because every year they have to face the task of making budget requests and revenue rhyme. I am happy and honored to be able to introduce Senate President Pro Tem William Brownsberger, who will welcome you to his district, followed by our new co-chair of the Joint Committee on Tourism, Arts, and Cultural Development, Senator Ed Kennedy of Lowell. Senator Brownsberger.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me. I don't think I should try to add to the statement you just heard about the fundamental value of the arts, but only to say that in elected life at a time when divisions are in sharper relief than perhaps at other times, I'm especially grateful for the work that artists do to help us see through the eyes of others and live the experiences of others, because fundamentally that's one of the most important things out there that operates to bring us together. So I'm really grateful for the work that artists do across the Commonwealth, and I'm looking forward to the conversation we'll hear this afternoon honoring some of our most special artists. But there's wonderful work going on in every community in this Commonwealth every day that does help bring us together. It's my pleasure to introduce Senator Ed Kennedy of Lowell, who is Democrat representing the Massachusetts State Senate in the 1st District. He serves also Dunstable, Groton, Pepperell, and Pineborough, and Westford, as well as Lowell. He is a distinguished public servant. He holds a master's degree in public administration. He served on the Lowell City Council since 2012. He was served as mayor. He's staying in that role just long enough to get the high school built. To education and culture is very fundamental and something he lives every day. And I think that the cultural community is in good hands with him as chair of the Committee on Culture, Tourism, Arts, and Cultural Development. Thank you so much for being with us, Ed, and I look forward to handing it over to you.
I didn't think everybody knew about Lowell High School, but I think a lot of people probably do. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to be here with all of you and pleased to join the Massachusetts Cultural Council in recognizing examples of excellence in the arts, humanities, and sciences. As we all know, the cultural fabric of every community in every corner of Massachusetts has been enriched by groups and individuals who have dedicated their talent and efforts to the arts. Those efforts, exemplified by today's outstanding honorees, have been translated to renewed economic vitality, enhanced educational opportunity, and enriched quality of life for all, and have in total made our Commonwealth stronger, more unique, and more vibrant. and I applaud everyone in this room for having a hand in this success. My hometown in Lowell illustrates the value that art and cultural opportunity can bring to a community. 2 decades ago, Lowell reimagined its future with art as its focal point, drawing in artists and creators from the Boston area and other parts of the state, bringing with them color, fun, insight, and awareness to the city, all stimulating renewed economic growth. Given my perspective on the value of the arts, I was pleased to be named to the Senate Chair of the Committee on Tourism, Arts, and Cultural Development earlier this year. The arts provide an undeniable public benefit, and as such, I believe it is critical that government does all that it can to support arts and cultural initiatives. And I intend to use my role as the committee's chairman to help fulfill this responsibility. That means providing funding to the Cultural Council to sustain their support of local programs and initiatives, including those represented here today, and crafting thoughtful policies aimed at ensuring that the arts can continue to flourish throughout the Commonwealth. This legislative session, the committee will be renewing proposals to bolster public art programs, to support artist-run businesses, to establish a relief fund for artists encountering emergency scenarios, and to account for the subjective value of art in the public procurement process, amongst a dozen of other thoughtful pieces of legislation. And I am confident that this year the committee can work towards meaningful legislative progress that will elevate the status of the arts in Massachusetts. I will be joined in this task by a very capable co-chair in the House of Representatives, Representative Paul McMurtry. Paul is the owner of a community theater in Dedham, and I know that he shares strongly in my belief in this importance of arts and culture in the Commonwealth. So with that, I once again congratulate all of today's Commonwealth Award winners, and I sincerely thank the Massachusetts Cultural Council and all of the partners in attendance today for all that you do to elevate the arts and enrich the culture of the Commonwealth. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Come on and move. Hey, come on and groove. You got to move, you got to move. Come on and move. Whoa, move. Come on and move. Say you got to get down. Whoa, Lord, yeah.
Huh? Get your blood going. Origination, aren't they absolutely amazing? Performed in the lobby for us. Well, I have to tell you, I had an opportunity to research all of the organizations that received a nomination and who are here in this room. And the stories, your stories, are so amazing. So, with your permission, I picked the stories that I liked the best, and those are the ones that I'm going to share with you today. And I begin with this one. For more than 10,000 years, the Wampanoag people occupied a bit of land that we call Martha's Vineyard. They called it Noep. But then the world changed. European settlers showed up, bringing with them adversity, disease, and death. There were thousands of Wampanoags on the island then. There are a mere hundreds now. But their story, a big part of America's story, lives on thanks to the Aquinnah Cultural Center. On the threshold of a year, 2020, when we expected thousands of people coming to Massachusetts to commemorate the arrival of the Mayflower 400 years ago and the beginning of a new nation, the United States, we honor the people and a nation that were already here. The Aquinnah Cultural Center is a centerpiece of our Aquinnah Cultural District and the keeper of a story we must never forget. Will the representatives of the Aquinnah Cultural Center please stand for applause? Well, no one knows better than our keynote speaker that music, while beautiful, is also a vehicle for social change. This is an idea that was born in Venezuela, but it's an idea so powerful it could not be contained. It has migrated around the world, and it has found friendly and fertile soil right here in Massachusetts. There, it is called El Sistema. Here, we call it Ser a Ser. And we now support 22 El Sistema-inspired Ser a Ser programs right here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, including the Boston String Academy. Mary Lisa and Mary Esther Alvarez inspire, teach, and unleash a child's unlimited potential for music. But there's more than that. And I think we know it most from the lips of the children who participate in the program. And one young student named Lola says, the Boston String Academy gives her a feeling, something I think we all know we need, a sense of belonging. The Boston String Academy, please stand and be recognized. Okay, imagine this. You're backstage before one of the biggest events in your city, the MLK celebration. And crowded into this space are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of children tuning up their violins. Surrounded by proud parents, nervously holding coats and cases, many of them brand new residents of our country. And in the middle of all of this, an image of calm and sheer joy is Eileen McCaffrey. She runs the Community Music School of Springfield. And while that would be plenty for most of us, that's not enough for Eileen, because she's also made sure that music is a part of the regular curriculum in Springfield Public Schools. And while that would be plenty for most of us, that's not enough for Eileen, because she's also now doing the same thing in Holyoke. Eileen says that music has the power to change lives. I'd say the same thing about Eileen. Please stand and be recognized. Two years ago, the Mass Cultural Council partnered with the John F. Kennedy Library and Foundation for the commemoration of the centennial of our native son, John F. Kennedy's birth. And we introduced for the first time the JFK Commonwealth Award. Kennedy believed in the strength of the arts, and he saw it as vital to a healthy democracy. And therefore, he saw that it was appropriate that there be public, meaning government, support for the arts in our country. His legacy is the National Endowment for the Arts, the National Endowment for the Humanities, and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a facility whose we share today. And as a result, we now have state arts agencies in every state in the country. John F. Kennedy also believed that democracies are built on a platform of free press. And one time he did allow that it could be a bit abrasive to politicians from time to time, but definitely worth the pain. Well, it's rare today to live in a community served by a newspaper that is locally owned and that is thus as much coverage to the arts and culture as, say, sports. No newspaper has devoted more resources and energy that stories that matter about our collective public trust than the Berkshire Eagle. I have to tell you, the first time that I was in the editorial boardroom at the Berkshire Eagle, I couldn't help noticing a little framed note that was hanging on the conference room wall. And of course, I had to be nosy and take a closer look at it. And it was a note to the Eagle signed by John F. Kennedy. Here to present the John F. Kennedy Commonwealth Award to the Berkshire Eagle is Stephen Rothstein, Director of the John F. Kennedy Library Foundation.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Anita. So before I do, and again, want to recognize the Berkshire Eagle in just a second, you know, President Kennedy believed in the arts, as was said, but a month before he passed away, on October 26, 1963, he dedicated the Robert Frost Library at Amherst College, not far from the Berkshire Eagle. And in that speech, he talked about the importance of the arts, and he has one line in particular that says, "When politics corrupts, poetry cleanses." When politics corrupts, poetry cleanses. So you think about that just as we go forward. And as was said, he also valued the importance of media. So in his 1,036 days as president, he gave the first live televised press conferences. But then he, on average, every 16 days, gave 64 live televised press conferences highlighting the importance of the press. Didn't always agree with it, of course, but the importance of it. But the Berkshire Eagle is a model in so many ways. As someone, when I was in college, I got to read it all the time. When I visit my brother in Western Mass now, I get to read it now. But through their balanced look at arts and culture and politics and sports and everything else, they're a real model in so many ways. So it's a pleasure to ask the publisher and the leadership of the Berkshire Eagle to come up. I'm also presenting to them a copy and a copy to Anita, a copy of the speech that President Kennedy gave at Amherst College on October 26, highlighting the importance of UPS. So the Berkshire Eagle folks, if you can come on up.
I speak for everyone at the Eagle, from the inserters to the press room, to the salespeople, to the photographers, designers, reporters, and editors, and say that we are truly appreciative and extraordinarily humble to be awarded anything from the Mass Cultural Council, but to get an award that's tied to President Kennedy just adds a level of that can't be described. I still remember standing in front of the television, the black and white television, when he said, "My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." That did not inspire us to buy the Eagle, my partners and I. But I really firmly believe that what we're doing and the purpose of what we're trying to do to reestablish the Berkshire Eagle as the quality town square in our community. We say that democracy requires citizenship, and citizenship requires a town square. That's our goal, and we are determined to make it the finest community newspaper in America. Thank you all. We are humbled.
So, as you know, we love our creative youth development programs. There are some of you here in the room, I know. And whenever we talk about creative youth development, we like to talk about youth agency. What is that, you may be asking? Well, at Elevated Thought, it's when a student doesn't just settle for staring at the blackboard, but gets on the school board, like Alyssa Salas in Lawrence. It's when young people turn bodegas in their community from food deserts to healthy on-the-block destinations for fresh fruits and vegetables. It's what happens when young people know that they matter and can make a difference in their community. Elevated Thought, elevating youth, elevating us. Please stand, Elevated Thought, and be recognized. It's a familiar story in Massachusetts. A company town, the primary employer of thousands of families, leaves, leaving behind usually a giant empty mill building. And then what's supposed to happen? Well, then what happens is something whose name is resilience and face is hope, and it's called the arts. In Fitchburg, it was called the Masterpiece in a Mill Town. Now, it may not be considered a mill town anymore, but the vitality of that community comes from its creative center, a place that cares for and shares the arts with everybody. Since it was a gleam in the eye of founder Eleanor Norcross, the Fitchburg Art Museum has always been, in her words, a place where people could experience the joy and inspiration of art. It is a jewel of a museum. It is the heartbeat of the community, and it is definitely a masterpiece. Fitchburg Art Museum. I'm quoting here. It is a great force capable of spreading beauty and understanding. So said Eva Le Gallienne 90 years ago at the opening of what would become the Berkshire Theater Festival in Stockbridge. But she could have been describing Kate McGuire. Every time I see Kate, I say, I don't know how you do all of this. And that was before she doubled her workload by adding the Colonial Theater to her plate. Now, Kate, for some reason, like a lot of you, has chosen an occupation where she must maintain several pieces of real estate, manage seasonal and full-time staff, keep volunteers engaged, raise money, make a business model work where she sells things for less than it costs to make, and, produce theater. When the curtain goes up at the Colonial, it ignites the footlights in the entire community. It takes a great force to do that, a great force like Kate McGuire. We all know Frederick Douglass, but do you know William Wells Brown, the first African-American novelist, or Polly Johnson, the abolitionist? All had ties to New Bedford, and all could have been buried in the dust of history if not for Lee Blake at the New Bedford Historical Society. You know, history does not write itself down for future generations to appreciate and know. It must be rediscovered and researched and brought into the light of day. For the African Americans, Cape Verdeans, Native Americans, and West Indians who made a life in New Bedford, we know they were there and mattered because of Lee Blake. Lee. Before I introduce our keynote speaker, I would like to just take a pause of reflection to recognize that there are many people in the room today and many that we work with and that we call friends and colleagues who came here from Venezuela. They come to work at the Mass Cultural Council, the Boston Arts Academy, at other organizations in our community. They'll shortly be joining us at the podium. And they have family and friends in a place that has been racked with violence and deprivation. Yet, they come to bring us the joy of music and enrich our lives here in Massachusetts. To Jorge, Marilisa, Mary Esther, Rodrigo, Carmen, and Gustavo, we salute you and we thank you for all you do for us. So none other than Leonard Bernstein spoke to moments like this. He said, "This will be our reply to violence, to make music more intensely, more beautifully, more devotedly than ever before." I first experienced the electric musicianship of Maestro Dudamel in Caracas. He was conducting a young orchestra, the Simón Bolívar Orchestra. And by the way, when you experience that, you never forget it, ever. I was studying El Sistema with a group that was touring Venezuela at the time, a program that is literally changing hundreds of thousands of lives of young people all over the world, and certainly here in Massachusetts. Maestro Dudamel is the music and artistic director of the Los Angeles Philharmonic and is the music director of the Simón Bolívar Symphony Orchestra of Venezuela. He is in Boston for us, of course, but also he is here with the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and I hope you have an opportunity to experience not only his amazing musicianship and energy and technique, but I guarantee you will feel the intensity, beauty, and devotion that only comes from a lived experience. I present Maestro Gustavo Dudamel.
Good morning, no? Honestly, I write my speech in Spanish and it gets translated, so forgive me for the English version, because there are some, my English is still very rudimentary. Music is my language. In this language, I can conduct an opera or a symphony by heart, or at least that is what they say. But today, I'm not before my orchestra, so I hope this distinguished audience will forgive me for reading. I believe that the first word one must learn in any language is the word thanks. So I would like to start by thanking you for this great honor. I feel quite humble and grateful to be surrounded this afternoon by such a special group of creators, artists, humanists, and honored guests. The Commonwealth Awards resonate with me deeply. There are two primary reasons. First, Massachusetts was not just the birthplace of the American Revolution. It is also at the heart of this nation's cultural revolution. This state is renowned for creating and fostering some of the most esteemed institutions, both large and small, in the arts and education. And from such institutions comes ideas and creative experiences that make people talk, think, and feel. The people and organizations of Massachusetts, many represented in this room today, have brought joy and passion to millions of people and helped fundamentally shift the paradigm of our social, intellectual, and artistic understanding. The second part is this. In this highly polarized and polarized world in which we live, the arts in general, and the music in particular, unite us. To cite one of Massachusetts' greatest sons and one of my musical idols, Leonard Bernstein, it is the artists of the world, the feelers and the thinkers who will ultimately save us, who can articulate, educate, defy, insist, sing and shout the big dreams. It is true. Everyone who contributes to the creation of beauty in this world helps carve out the vital time and space for people of all walks of life, all cultures, and diverse political views to dream together. That is the power of music. And we need music today more than ever. As the great poet Schiller wrote, beauty is the only form of communication that can unite society since it relates to that which is common to all. These experiences of spiritual and social communion are essential in our times. Public discourse in America today is divisive and all too often violent, with tragic and damaging consequences for the future of our communities. In my beloved home of Venezuela, we are experiencing great suffering and upheaval right now too. People are spending their days looking for food, medicine, and the necessities of life. It is an existential crisis. Under these circumstances, it is fair to ask, can we afford the arts when basic needs are not being met? My answer is that art too is a necessary ingredient for our individual and collective progress. It is the creative wellspring of hope. It teaches, humbles, and inspires us. Art nourishes our souls. Art is essential for a society to dream a brighter tomorrows. When we play, when we create, when we listen, we liberate our imaginations and restore the connective tissue of our shared humanity. I say this not as an article of blind faith. By nature, I'm an optimist. I always look on the bright side of life. But growing up in El Sistema in Venezuela, I experienced the transformative power of music firsthand. Indeed, my life is living proof of it. Together with my friends and hundreds of thousands of other children, we study music not just as a set of skills or as a profession, but as a way of life. Even today, in the midst of devastating strife and crisis, hundreds of thousands of children and teachers across Venezuela continue to play and to fight for these values, keeping hope and imagination alive. And I remain convinced that because of this, and thanks to the skills, ideals, and social bonds forged by El Sistema, we will be at the forefront of our country rebirth once this terrible moment has passed. Meanwhile, it fills me with immense pride to see how so many of these ideas from my homeland have taken root in countries around the globe. Everywhere I go, I met people inspired by the mission of El Sistema, perhaps nowhere more so than here in Massachusetts. My mentor and founder of El Sistema, Maestro José Antonio Abreu, initiated a groundbreaking cooperation between El Sistema in Venezuela and the New England Conservatory. The seeds of that venture, planted almost 2 decades ago, are still blossoming today. Some of its fruits with us this afternoon. Meanwhile, the Youth Orchestra Los Angeles project we created for young people from underserved communities across LA has enjoyed many years of successful cooperation with the Longy School of Music in Cambridge through the National Take a Stand program. I myself have had the privilege of working with the students' orchestras at Harvard University and MIT. And through the Dudamel Foundation, we have invested in the Ser a Ser network of public, private, charter, and community music schools working to expand access to social and artistic music-making opportunities for children across the state. With these connections and the crucial support and leadership of institutions such as the Massachusetts Cultural Council, we have seen the conversation in Massachusetts shift from a perception of music education as an antiquated luxury to understanding art as a fundamental right and key to successful social development. Today, we celebrate this important change, the heroes who are leading it, and the brighter future for children and communities across the Commonwealth they are helping create. To today's awards nominees, you are our cultural warriors and the front lines. Nothing of value comes easily, and you lead the charge in promoting opportunity, equity, and harmony through the arts. To each of you, I extend my congratulations and gratitude. It is my honor to stand with you in this mission. My vocation is music, but my mission is children, especially how we teach them. Those who dismiss the arts as a preoccupation of the elite and deny children access to art education must understand that without art, the human spirit dulls, and we lost touch with the powers of creativity and imagination that encourage creative risk and exploratory self-expression necessary for innovation. I don't know what technologies we still will be using in the future, what change will confront us. I don't know if Facebook, Candy Crush, Pokemon Go, or Twitter will be like. I don't know if computers will disappear or if they will become something completely different. But no matter what the future brings, I do know we will still have to hone the skills and create spaces to give expression to our souls, to allow us to think outside the box, as the expression goes, and to connect with our fellow citizens. To quote again my beloved Leonard Bernstein, the progress of the human spirit must keep pace with technological and scientific progress, or that spirit will die. And music is at the top of the spiritual most list. When the study of the arts leads to the adoration of the formula, heaven forbid, we shall be lost. But as long as we insist on maintaining artistic vitality, we are able to hope in humankind. And so we return to hope and music, and the need for us all to invest in the dreams and spirits of young people who are searching for a glimpse of a better, more harmonious future. Art is that future. And so, my friends, let's make sure we continue listening to each other and working together in fostering the world that cultivates, embraces, and empowers the arts. A world without them is unacceptable and unimaginable. Thank you very much.
Stand to the side here because we're going to be filling up the stage, but we're not going to make you imagine the power of music. Of course not. We will be experiencing it momentarily. Thank you so much, Maestro. Your words are so powerful and moving to all of us. And I have to tell you, if I could just share this, when I was in Venezuela, seeing children 2 years old playing cardboard violins as their first step toward becoming who knows what in the future. You were a young child when you...
I'm still very small.
You still, okay, not that small. But I had a chance to speak to a lot of the young people who were in the program in Caracas. And you have to realize when I was there 5 or 6 years ago, visitors like me were still escorted by armed guards. And it was relatively safe then when you look at the country now compared to then. But we went to, I would say, probably 20 or 30 of what they call nucleos, which is where the young people learn their music. And in some cases, it would be in an old school playground with razor wire literally surrounding the campus, where these young people were making absolutely beautiful music. And part of the story really is the fact that when you touch a child with music, it spreads to their siblings, to their family, to their apartment complex, to their neighborhood. It truly is world-changing. Thank you, Maestro. And we are pleased. We have assembled a Ser ensemble for you today. Joining us are Kids for Harmony, Boston String Ensemble, Conservatory Lab School, Charter Lab School, and Sistema Somerville, and again with an assist from the Boston Symphony Orchestra and the New England Conservatory. I present our Ser ensemble.
having us, everybody. Good afternoon. I don't know if you have it in the programs. That was La Muerte del Ángel by Astor Piazzolla. Our next piece will be first movement from Holberg Suite by Grieg. Enjoy. Our last piece for this afternoon will be a Venezuelan song dedicated to Maestro Dudamel and all of you. It's a special rhythm that we love called joropo. And this is the first time we've done it with these two guys. We decided to stop in the middle somewhere, make them improvise, and then we hopefully end the piece together. So thank you. Capacho on cuatro, Alexis Soto on maracas. And I'm very happy our first cellist, Darren, play a beautiful solo today for you.
They were absolutely amazing. Thank you again to our Ser a Ser ensemble. So on to our next finalists. When the Cape Ann artist Paul Manship passed away in 1966, a little scrap of paper was found in his dressing gown with a note on it. And the note said, "The primary impulse in the arts is to give permanence to the fleeting moment. Bid it to stay, because we can't bear to lose it." Well, that note could have been a call to action to two visionary women. A few years ago, the Manship home and studio, stuffed with papers and art and memorabilia, came up for sale. Now, it's exceedingly rare to have the chance to preserve a place where an artist both worked and lived. And it is a daunting task to preserve that. But Rebecca Reynolds and Joanne Castagno could not bear to lose it. They were determined to give permanence to this place and to make a place for the next generation of artists to hone their craft. You may know Paul Manship because of his great sculptures like the Prometheus Fountain at Rockefeller Center, but you will only really know him at the Manship's Artist Residency and Studios on Cape Ann. Please stand to be recognized. There. It all began because of the feathers in her hat. In 1896, Harriet Lawrence Hemingway and Mina Hall were furious over the cruelty of harvesting colorful feathers from birds just to adorn a woman's hat. So, skipping a lot of the story in between, they founded the Audubon Society. And today, Mass Audubon protects 38,000 acres of land in Massachusetts, providing habitat for flora and fauna, and a reminder to those of us stuck in the concrete jungle of what the natural world is all about. Their impact is as profound as it is personal. As profound as protecting the planet from climate change, and as personal as assuring that there are accessible trails so that, well, in the words of one visitor who was blind, for once in my life, I can walk in the woods alone. Mass Audubon, a sanctuary for people and the planet. Mass Audubon. Okay, I was destined to fall in love with Natick when I found out that it was once third in the nation in the production of shoes. A few of you know me out there. Well, when Natick first came to us to explore the possibility of becoming a cultural district, a lot of us immediately thought, what? You want a giant indoor mall to be a cultural district? I know there's a Neiman Marcus, but there's got to be more than that. But actually, we discovered there is a town, and the town itself is quintessential New England. The old fire station, built after a devastating fire in 1874, all but burned down the entire place, and actually was considered worse than the Great Chicago Fire, is now a vibrant cultural center called TCAN. Natick knows that both commerce and community are built on attention to arts and culture, and it knows how to rebuild and reinvent itself without losing what is real and special and authentic, except perhaps for some of the shoes. Please stand to be recognized, Cultural District of Natick. There are many instruments with which we can speak, but our next performer speaks with an instrument of her own. It is her own voice. I'm happy and proud to introduce the artist poet from Lawrence, Leda Maine.
Hello. I'm here representing Elevated Thought. I'm a creator from Lawrence. And yeah, I'll let my poem do the talking. This piece is named White Butterflies. White butterflies visit me in my room, telling me to stay clear. Time flies, so do lives. It be so hard to see through the darkness without fear. And I ain't never met my abuela, but I know our spirits connect. She be guiding me towards the light, our bodies hers to protect. Turns off all the candles, but the white ones stay lit. Listening to the flame, listening to those who came before me, letting them guide me paint. Voices in my head literally started talking in loud tongues, so quick to call me crazy. Called mommy later that day and told her I'm the chosen one. And mommy got scared when I told her how I danced when I heard the drums, shaking shackles off my feet until I felt freedom. And freedom at last, history clashed with the present. Channeling power from the past, I don't regret it. Understanding languages other than English and Spanish. There's just a magic in me and I don't expect you to understand it. But nothing in this poem is a metaphor, so please respect it. Don't you know the dead ain't really dead, they resurrecting? Living in the tree soil and me, I'm pretending. June 1st, I swear I was reborn, destined to become a legend. And I'll tell you, freedom is really one of your greatest, most dangerous weapons, enlightening you without frightening you. In reality, I'm just reflecting. In reality, I'm just living my life to leave a message. I'm a storyteller, vessel for the truth and light, nothing lesser. On this earth to be a vessel for love and light, nothing lesser. Told everyone I was a chosen one. Tired of running with nothing to run from. Figuring out I ain't lost, realizing I truly do belong. And heaven ain't the only place. I follow after the greats. My grandma rose from the dead just to bless me with her name. Carrying the name of my grandma, a true campesina from Higüey. Bless me with their title. Carry a legacy on my back along with slave ships. Remember the arrival, cause you can't forget the pain your ancestors came with. Funny how time unfolds. Came in as slaves and leaving as lords. Remember to never hate the messenger. Never confuse a gift as a curse. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to live in fear of the unknown. I see God every day. In the mirror, I'm a gift to this earth. And treasure is never always gold, money, or diamonds. Don't you know true treasure is freedom and knowledge? And I won't let this sun rot inside of me, no matter how afraid people are of its heat. No, I won't let this sun rot inside of me. My pain has patience me, and you can't unhear me. You can't unhear this. White butterflies visit me in my room, telling me to stay clear. I see the future in my dreams. I know my time to rise is near. And evil can smile at me with mirrors as teeth. I have no fears. I speak my truth. I always do. I'll speak God's language until my time is here. Thank you.
Thank you, Leda. That was just beautiful. Thank you, and so powerful. So, here is how they described the Paul Revere House in 1905 in the Milton Record. A quaint, dilapidated wooden house with queer chimneys and overhanging upper story. The oldest building in Boston is gradually sinking into utter ruin. They were about to tear the place down. But thanks to some dedicated preservationists and no doubt a little bit of inspiration from a guy named Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, this seminal piece of American history was saved. Now, I first met the person on whose shoulders the stewardship of this national icon sits, Nina Zanieri. I came to Massachusetts 12 years ago, and she was one of the first people that I went to meet. Up the stairs, into an attic office space. There she was, tucked behind her desk, surrounded by boxes. Hundreds of thousands of visitors wanting to experience the first chapter of the American Revolution get to walk through the doorways of the Paul Revere House and step on the floorboards. They literally get to touch the past, because Nina has made sure that the Paul Revere House is accessible to all. It's a difficult and delicate and demanding job, being the caretaker of one of our most beloved pieces of American history. And I am so glad it's in the hands of Nina Zanieri. Nina, please stand. Now, if you looked at this place from outer space, you probably would barely even be able to notice that it is sitting on just this tiny little slip of land, just hanging out there in the sea. But it is the place that grounds the arts of the Outer Cape to Provincetown and to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Provincetown Art Association and Museum is really the story of artists who found refuge in Provincetown and then made it one of the most active and oldest artist colonies in the nation. You know, there's kind of a codependency between the artists and the place. The Cape provides the artists with the content of their work, and the artist captures that shifting story of the land and the sea. Well, for 105 years, Pam has curated that story. And it is indeed an exemplar of how an art museum respects both the art and the artist, all while engaging the next generation of artists and especially mindful of its spot on the planet, keeping that museum green. All of this is due in no small part to the leadership of Chris McCarthy. At a time when ethical standards seem shifting and unmoored in our society, I can tell you they are strong and solid at PAM. That's the role of a leader. Chris is one of the reasons that museums remain one of our most trusted institutions. Chris McCarthy and Pam, please stand. Well, it happens every single day. A young woman in high school gets pregnant and drops out, and often she's on her own. What doesn't happen every day is this same young woman finds herself reading the classics, studying philosophy, finishing her GED, going to college, unless she is fortunate enough to find her way to the Care Center in Holyoke. And now this amazing organization is breaking new ground. Now, for some time, this is a personal dream of mine. I've been dreaming of the day that every single housing project, whether senior or affordable, would have a space, a residence for a teaching artist. It would be standard, like plumbing and electricity. Can you imagine the difference that would make to have a teaching artist in every single one of our housing complexes? Well, guess what? It's happening in Holyoke. Thanks to the persistence and vision of Ann Teschner, who leads the Care Center, this is about to happen. A new housing development is setting aside space for the young women at the Care Center on their path to self-sufficiency. And they will be supported by a resident teaching artist, as well as performance and cultural space that these women can program themselves. This should happen every day. The Care Center, please stand and be recognized. Well, all of you who work for nonprofit cultural organizations know that you cannot get the work that you do done if not for the enthusiasm and support of your boards, and particularly your board chair. And I can't tell you how honored I am to have the privilege to work side by side with Mass Cultural Council Board Chair Nina Fialco.
Well, hello, and thank you to everyone for being here, and it's my honor to serve alongside Anita. She and the entire staff of the Mass Cultural Council are incredible. And I would just like to welcome all of you who've joined us today to celebrate the awards. As you now know, my name is Nina Fialco, and I do have the honor, and it is my honor, to serve as chair of the Mass Cultural Council. I would also like to acknowledge my fellow council members who've joined us here today and thank them for their service as well. Susan Winston-Leff, Mark Carroll, and our former council member, Lisa Wong. I'm so pleased to see many of our friends, partners, and supporters who've gathered here to join us for this biennial ceremony. I hope you share my deep admiration and appreciation for all of our nominees, whose stories Anita so eloquently shared with us. I would also like to add my thanks to Maestro Dudamel for his inspiring remarks, and to all of our young performers, artists contributing their talent and creative energy to today's event. Thank you all again for sharing this special day with us, and thank you to the Mass Cultural Council staff for putting this fantastic event together. Now I will ask Anita to come back and give the final part of our program.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now, we kind of tried to fashion this after the Oscars. You know, we would describe all the finalists, and then we would announce the winners. And I do want you to notice that it is not dark outside. We have not gone into the wee hours of the night. You haven't fallen asleep yet, because that's usually what happens at the Oscars. But I think that the stories of all of our Commonwealth finalists are so amazing and so compelling. And can we please give a huge round of applause to everyone in the room? So, yes, there are envelopes. Could I have the first envelope, please? Catherine Peterson, would you please come forward and open the envelope? You may say.
I am thrilled to announce that the first Commonwealth Award for 2019 goes to the Boston String Academy. Woohoo!
Hold on 1 second. We have to give you the award.
Thank you. Pues, it's your husband. Thank you, Anita, and thank you, Massachusetts Cultural Council, for this honor. This is, we're very, very happy, very proud of this. It's such an honor for us. I'm Maria Elisa Alvarez, one of the co-directors, along with my sister, Maria Esther Alvarez, and our colleague, Taide Prieto. We're very happy to be here. A couple of days ago, we just received the news that 22 of our students made it into the National Youth Orchestra of El Sistema Inspired programs. Yeah, it's a youth orchestra organized by Los Angeles Philharmonic that they invite children from all over the country to audition, and they choose 140, so 22 of them are our students. And thank you. This journey started many years ago when we were students in our Sistema program, the two of us in Venezuela and Taide in Peru. And we understood what El Sistema and studying music through a program like that did to us, the transformation it made to us and to our friends. So we wanted many children to have similar experiences than ours. And that's why we wanted to create something here in Boston. The three of us came to study here. And even though this is a culturally rich city, we still felt there was a need for a program that will seek for musical excellence as a communal effort that would go out into the communities and engage children and families, that would accept children no matter what their backgrounds are. And these families will be proud and they will feel they belong greater to something greater than what they are. Today we have 3 programs in 2 locations in Chinatown and Allston, and over 120 students. We're very, very happy to continue the legacy that Maestro Abreu started more than 40 years ago in Venezuela. So we feel it's our honor and our mission to continue that. I would like to thank all of our teachers at Boston String Academy for giving your hearts out to the students themselves, who many of them played here tonight, to the parents, that without them we wouldn't be able to teach their children, and to the many cultural institutions here in Boston that has partnered with us and supported us along the way so that Boston String Academy can continue to be here. Thank you all for your support.
The next envelope, please. Could I ask Andrea Shea to come up and open the envelope?
Sure. My glasses. Okay. Do I say? It's the Mass Audubon. All right.
Thank you so much. Again, my name is Gary Clayton. I'm president of Mass Audubon, and joining me is Beth Cressley-Goldstein, our chair of the board of directors at Mass Audubon. As Anita mentioned in the overview previously, it all started here in Boston. Our founding mothers in the late 19th century decided to take action, and they did, and the Audubon conservation movement really here in North America spread from the Commonwealth. We are very much about connecting people with nature and all people. And an important part of our effort in doing so is to ensure everyone in the Commonwealth, whether they live in a city, suburb, or a rural community, has the opportunity to connect with nature, to be inspired, whether it be through art or music or the exploration of natural history. But the inspiration is so important, and it's something we firmly believe is vital to every resident of the Commonwealth. And part of our work in doing so is to make sure that our facilities and our programs indeed are available to everyone. And with the support of the Mass Cultural Council, we have been very fortunate to make our 20 nature centers, our community conservation centers, if you will, throughout the Commonwealth, whether they be in the Berkshires, the Connecticut River Valley, the city of Worcester, a few miles from here in Mattapan, the Cape and Islands, that all of those facilities are accessible to all the residents of the Commonwealth. We are so committed to, again, connecting people with nature, to be inspired, to enjoy, and we're honored by this award and to be with all of you, the nominees. It's a wonderful, wonderful tribute, and we're very proud. Thank you.
Another envelope. Mark Carroll, our new council member, would you come and open the envelope?
We'd like to give you a little surprise.
That's fine. The next winner is the Provincetown Art Association and Museum.
Thank you so much. 2019 actually marks 25 years that I've worked in Massachusetts in the arts, and all 25 of those have been with the Massachusetts Cultural Council. So I want to thank them for this because they have been a partner always. I love to say that when Anita Walker started, the first thing I said, she's from Iowa. She'll never be able to survive in Boston. But boy, was I wrong, and I'm so glad. For those of you who think Provincetown is too far away, it isn't. For those of you who have never been there before, get there before it gets too crowded. What I have achieved with my team, my board, the staff, the community, the artists, is the greatest privilege I've had in my career. It's what I'm the most proud of, and I will continue to fight the good fight as long as we don't sink into the water. So thank you, everybody. Working in the arts is a privilege, but it's also a public service. I can't imagine myself doing anything else. And I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I've had to be a cultural leader, and I will continue to do so until the very end. Thank you so much.
Okay, finally, I would like to invite Mark Volpe to come up and open this envelope.
I shouldn't say Meryl Streep. Is this the last one, or do you have more? The last Commonwealth Award winner is not Meryl Streep, but it's the Care Center.
Wow, holy cow, this is great. So I used to work for the Mass Cultural Council and brought my sort of experience that I gained there to the city of Holyoke, and along with an unbelievable staff and board, we started doing things with teen parents that no one had ever done or even thought of doing. We work with young women who are involved with the welfare system, and we read moral philosophy, we paint, we dance, we do theater, we write poetry, and it's really electrifying for the community and for the young women we serve. Wow, I am really happy and surprised, and thank you. It's an honor. Thank you.
Now we'd like to ask all of our award winners and our finalists to please join us on stage for the big group photo. So please come forward. Aquinnah Cultural Center, Boston String Academy, Eileen McCaffrey, Elevated Thought, Fitchburg Art Museum, Kate McGuire, Lee Blake, Manship Artist Residency, Mass Audubon, Natick Cultural District, Nina Zanieri, Provincetown Art Association and Museum, and the Care Center, this year's Commonwealth honorees. And my council members. All right. Where's the photographer? And Gustavo. Oh. And Maestro, would you join us too? How are we going to come in the front? Stay up here? Yeah. Wow.